trae muy buenos recuerdos. Feliz año. El año del caballo, ¿verdad? Ah, el caballo. Yo soy tigre. ¿A tú? Ah, tanto tiempo. Yo lo conocí a él muy joven. Muy joven. Hace 20 años. Hace 20 años. Sí. Como traductor cuando estaba el presidente Christoforou.
Exactamente, sí.
Ahora es director. Qué increíble, ¿verdad? Como pasa el tiempo. Estás igual.
This is my second video update on this Saturday afternoon, January the 3rd, coming to you from Larnaca, Cyprus. And we have the big news, the breaking news that Maduro has been captured. This, according to U.S. President Trump, who posted on Truth Social, the United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. So the United States has successfully kidnapped the leader of another country. Let's not use the word captured. Let's call it what it is. A kidnapping. That's what this is. They kidnapped the leader of another country. The rules-based order, international law and the rules-based order, huh? Here is a post from Yeroman, and I believe he is spot on with this post. The operation in Venezuela was prepared similar to the operation in Syria by bribing military leaders. That's why we didn't see any air defense working. I warned about that a couple of months ago. Absolutely right. 100%. That is exactly what I think happened here. This is a successful covert operation. I wouldn't say this is a successful military operation. I would say this is a successful intel covert operation. The United States was able to turn various parts of the Venezuelan military, not all of the military, but the part of the military that had to deal with the defense of the country, the air defense systems of the country. That's why we saw no air defense whatsoever. There was no air defense. The U.S. Air Force and the helicopters, free reign to operate and target whatever they wanted to target. And that's exactly what they did. And that allowed U.S. special ops to capture Maduro. That is exactly what I think happened, in much the same way as what happened in Syria. But in the case of Syria, Assad was able to escape to Russia. He was not captured. He made his way to Russia. In the case of Maduro, well, Russia or China is very, very far away. Maduro was just meeting with Chinese officials just a few hours ago. He was meeting with Chinese officials, and it looks like he had no idea what was going on. It looks like China had no idea what was going on, or Russia. So this was a very successful U.S. covert operation. Whoever they needed to bribe and to turn, they did it successfully. And this freed up the military, the U.S. military, to keep the parts of the Venezuelan military occupied, to attack parts of the Venezuelan military, the facilities, and so on that they needed to keep occupied and to go after. So they did that. Air defense non-existent. Special ops come in and they grab Maduro. Exactly what happened in Syria, pretty much exactly what the U.S. did in Syria. A very successful covert operation and a kidnapping of a leader of a sovereign country. I'm sure this is breaking all kinds of international law. I'm sure many countries around the world, the majority of the countries around the world are horrified at what is happening. The United States conducting these airstrikes, this military operation, and kidnapping the leader of Venezuela. And countries need to take notice of what's going on. This is a Trump administration. This is a United States whose foreign policy is very much based on trickery. I've said this so many times. It is a foreign policy based on trickery, whether it's the blowing up of pipelines. This goes back to Biden, actually. It's not only Trump. This is also the Biden administration, whether it's the blowing up of pipelines. Not that Biden did it. I'm not saying that Biden blew up Nord Stream, guys. I'm not saying that at all. We all know it was Gilligan and the skipper. But there is no international rules-based order or international law or anything like that. That doesn't exist. That doesn't exist at all. What we're seeing is the great powers, or at least the United States, doing whatever it wants to do or whatever it needs to do to continue to hold on to its unipolar moment and to prevent the rise of BRICS, of the multipolar world. So if pipelines need to go kaboom, they will go kaboom. If tankers need to be seized, they will be seized. If drones need to hit tankers or refineries, then the drones will hit the tankers and or the refineries. If you need to launch strikes into Nigeria to protect the Christians, you'll do that as well. If you need to get protests going in Iran, you can do that also. If you need to decapitate scientists, decapitation strikes against scientists, that's also on the agenda. And if you need to go into a country and kidnap its leader, well, you can do that as well. You just need to pay the right people, and there you go. And then you can do it. This has been in the works for a while. The New York Times, they published an article a couple of months ago where they talked about how the CIA is operating in Venezuela. And actually Trump, he even publicly said that the US, that the CIA is operating in Venezuela. So all the signs were there. All the freaking signs were there. Trump said the CIA is operating in Venezuela. The New York Times, it was the New York Times or the Washington Post, it doesn't matter, it's all the same. They posted an article talking about how you have covert activity happening at this moment in Venezuela. You had the Pam Bondi video where she put the price for the capture of Maduro at $50 million. So everything was being put in place for what we saw happen today. I didn't see it coming. I don't think anyone saw it coming, but all the signs were freaking there. I think the only part they were missing was to make sure that the air defenses were going to stand down. I believe that was the only part that was missing. Do we have the right people on the take to make sure that there are going to be zero air defenses going up as we hit military targets to keep the part of the loyal Maduro military, to keep them occupied and distracted? Do we have that piece of the puzzle? Yes, we do. There's going to be no air defenses. Okay, it's a go. That's exactly what happened. in my opinion. We'll hear from Trump at 11 a.m. A very successful covert operation from Trump, from U.S. intel. All the other countries, especially the other great powers, the big powers, Russia, China, Iran needs to take notice. I don't know, how strong is how loyal is Iran's military? How loyal are they? I don't know. I can't answer that question. I guess we're going to find out. Let's not forget that they hit the negotiators in Qatar, right? That happened as well. International law, rules-based order. You know, Putin continues to talk about Trump being pragmatic and rational and negotiating in good faith, mediating. He's mediating between Russia and Ukraine in good faith. He understands us. Maybe Putin's just playing the game. Maybe Russia understands the foreign policy of trickery. I've been saying this for so long. Trickery. Trickery is what it's all about. I wonder if China and Russia understand this. I wonder if the world understands this. It's all about trickery. So there you have it. Maduro captured. Short term, a huge win for Trump. I believe there are no U.S. military casualties in this operation. Why would there be? If there was zero air defense, why would there be any casualties? He's captured Maduro. Maduro is going to go on trial. This is a post from Mike Lee. Just got off the phone with Rubio, Secretary Rubio. He informed me that Nicolas Maduro has been arrested by U.S. personnel to stand trial on criminal charges in the United States, and that the kinetic action we saw tonight was deployed to protect and defend those executing the arrest warrant. This action likely falls within the president's inherent authority under Article 2 of the Constitution to protect U.S. personnel from an actual or imminent attack. Thank you, Secretary Rubio, for keeping me appraised. So there was no coordination between Maduro and the United States. I don't think there's any of that going on here. Maduro is going to be arrested. He's going to stand trial. At least that's how it looks from the information we're getting from Rubio. Trump is going to make an example of Maduro. He's going to get the Saddam Hussein treatment. I don't know if he'll get extradited back to Venezuela. If Trump gets his Machado government in Venezuela, are they going to send Maduro back to Venezuela? Is he going to be in prison in the United States? But whatever, they're gonna have the court cases. They're going to charge Maduro. They're going to arrest him. They're gonna show him to the world, make an example of Maduro, and the rest of the world is going to be put on notice. Right, and this is the way Trump is going to be going after Iran. This is exactly the way he's going to go after Iran. And look, drones targeting Putin, allegedly drones going after Putin just a couple of days ago, allegedly, because the CIA, and we should always trust the CIA. The CIA is telling us that the drones were targeting a military facility close by to Putin's residence, not Putin's residence, a military facility close by to Putin's residence. And if there's one thing that we should all do is we should believe what the CIA is telling us. So there you have it. Short term, I believe this is a very big win for Trump, and he's going to milk it as such. Medium and long term, regime changes never turn out well, especially for the country that has been regime changed. Look at Syria right now. Look at Libya. Just pick your country. Pick the country that you've had a regime change. Look at Ukraine, where you had the 2014 coup. Pick the country, and you're not going to find a good outcome, especially for that specific country whenever they've had one of these regime changes. But quite a day of news. Short term, big win. Medium to long term. If I had to take a guess, I would say chaos, a power vacuum. The defense minister has now stepped into the role of leading Venezuela. That appears to be the succession plan that is in place. And so far, the defense minister has vowed to carry on for Maduro in resisting the U.S. attack. But the United States could speak to the defense minister, and maybe they strike a deal with the defense minister. It's not Maduro, it's the defense minister now that's in charge of the country. I wouldn't be surprised if the United States gets in touch with the defense minister and they tell him, look, we're not going to go after you. Just stand down. Tell the military to stand down, and we'll let you go your own way. I could see that happening. Maybe he resists. Maybe the military resists. So I don't know if we'll see Machado, if we'll see Guaido, if we'll see somebody else. Keep in mind, Syria never had elections. They just put al-Shara al-Jalani in place as the leader of Syria. And Syria is breaking apart. Things are not going well in Syria. It's just that the media is not reporting too much on Syria. But that country has been dissected and split apart. And it's run by an al-Qaeda, al-Nusra guy, who was at the White House a couple of weeks ago, partying it up with Trump. So anyway, I'm just going to end the video there. Maybe I'll have another video out today. Maybe not. I'll see. I'll see how the news is going with Venezuela. Maybe I'll do another update after Trump's announcement today. If I don't do an update today on Trump's announcement, then I'll do an update tomorrow. But that's the latest update. Maduro has been captured. Unprovoked, full-scale attack on Venezuela has resulted in the capture of their president, the kidnapping. You see, I'm even saying captured. You see how effective propaganda is? The use of words, the kidnapping of a president of a country by the United States of America. Unbelievable times that we live in. So I will see everybody either later on today or tomorrow. Take care.